Ivan Barratt. Welcome to the Elite League Podcast.
It's good to be here, Greg. Thanks for having me.
Of course, what are you most grateful for today?
Oh, man. Well, we were just talking about it before we started. I'm grateful for my wife.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. How long have you been married?
Married 16 years this summer.
Amazing. Congrats.
Yeah. And if we wouldn't talk business, I'm actually somewhat grateful for the market we've been in. It's been an amazing time to buy, the third big correction of my career.
Seriously?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So
First
you
one,
did
first
it.
one being the GFC.
Mm,
Then we had this really short one that was like 2 quarters of COVID, where the very beginning of COVID, when we all locked down, everybody thought it was 2.0, 2008 2.0. That was the second correction of my career. Bought some fantastic real estate then, as well as the GFC. And then because interest rates screamed higher faster than they'd ever have in central bank history, it's created a lot of buying opportunities again in the market. Not fun trying to sell anything right now. It's been a while, but that's starting to come back. But it's been a phenomenal time to buy assets.
now, you say not fun trying to sell anything right now. Are you talking about for you or for the people in general?
Oh, well, it's certainly in some markets, like we were talking about Austin before we started recording. Austin's definitely hurting from a apartment side. I don't know about the residential side, but there's been too much oversupply there. But
Mhm.
in general, in private equity, private assets, real estate, business, the multiples are down as the interest rates have gone higher. It's starting to settle out, and I think we're coming out of that market to a more balanced part of the cycle. But for those of us that can put capital together, it's been a lot of fun.
Awesome. We'll let the good times roll, shall we?
Yes.
Sounds good. So let's bring it back, okay?
Yeah.
Because when catching up on your bio, you got to start with one, and you bought a duplex. Isn't that right?
That's correct. That is correct. It
Where
started with a duplex, 9,147 apartments later, but it started with a duplex.
where is the duplex?
North side of Indianapolis, Indiana, near Butler University, in a little area town called Meridian Kessler. I got an FHA loan. My dad said he'd split the down payment with me, whatever I could put together, and was able to. He said he would do that if I bought a duplex. He said you're on your own if you buy a single family, but if you move in one side, rent out the other, I'll match your down payment. So got an FHA loan, 97.5% loan or 96.5% loan,
Mhm.
and bought that first rental property.
Awesome. And have you been in Indianapolis your whole life, or did you move there eventually?
Born and raised.
Born and raised. Okay, so you know the market better than anybody else.
I like to think so.
There you go. Okay, so you got your first property, and then let's talk a little bit about the progression of what inspired you to continue that path of acquiring more and more properties.
Yeah, I'm pretty lucky. Or fortunate. I got early exposure thanks to my dad in owning rental properties. He's an attorney, but he owned a bunch of rental properties growing up,
Mm,
and my brother and I were his landscaping arm. I also got introduced really early to self-improvement, self-development. He'd have all those tapes everywhere we were driving. Dad was listening to Earl Nightingale and Zig Ziglar. And so I got this really early introduction to self-improvement, self-help, self-development. Also got the bug for real estate and always had dreams of owning a big business in the real estate space. Early on, I thought I'd develop, but then learned more about the acquisition game and buying existing assets and improving them. And that's the path I went down.
so how do you know, or what does big mean to you? You said big real estate business. What does that mean?
Yeah, yeah, we've done 1.7 billion in transactions. We've got about 1.1 billion in the portfolio, managing almost 500 million of equity for our investors. And some days that feels pretty big. Other days it's the question of how big can we make this thing if we continue to do it really, really well and execute well.
Okay. Okay.
Um, I do go back all the way to Rich Dad Poor Dad. I like his definition. A big business is one that you can step aside, come back a year later, and it's still growing.
Are we there yet?
We're pretty darn close. Pretty darn close. My team, um, 200 people strong now, from the folks picking up trash on site in the mornings at the communities, all the way up the food chain to the leadership team looking over the ship and making sure she's headed in the right direction and sailing well. Deserve a lot of the credit for where we're at.
And you've got over 200 people in your organizational chart right now, right?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Is that
Most of those folks
go ahead.
Yeah, most of those folks are on site at an apartment community because what we buy now are fully staffed, large apartment communities, 2, 300, maybe 400 units in one location with pool, clubhouse, amenities, on-site staff, on-site maintenance. And so they're spread across 7 states now. And then here at corporate, we've got about 40 folks on the team.
Okay, very cool. Let's talk a little bit about go back to that pathway of success, right? Because you see these graphs sometimes thrown out on the internet, how we envision success as a straight line up and out, yet the actual path is very rocky and choppy. Let's talk about the first dip, the first big blow that you experienced.
Yeah, absolutely. So I get out of Indiana University, the great state of Indiana, the IU Hoosiers. I get out with this shiny real estate degree in the early 2000s. I went back to a job I had interned for before I found my real estate mentor about a year later. And working for a real estate mentor, got to work on my first development deal. We're selling condos like crazy in an up and coming um, part of town where a lot of people land after college. They're flying off the shelves. It's 2004, 2005, fastest selling project in Indianapolis. I've got a pipeline of development deals that I'm selling the end product, land to developers. I've got a couple big projects there, another condo project under my belt for another developer, and it all goes off a cliff. 2008 occurs. Right? The entire market goes off a cliff. There's no sales occurring, and I'm a couple hundred grand in debt because I, in my 20s, think, "Hey, I'll just keep borrowing money until I sell all this stuff, right, to maintain my lifestyle." And, that wife that I'm so thankful for, my girlfriend at the time, asked me a pretty tough question. She said, "Hey, if I was 200 grand in debt and negative cash flow, would you marry me?" And that was a pretty low moment.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so 2009, we needed cash coming in one way or another, and so 5, 6 nights a week, I would drive 45 minutes away to another town where I hope nobody would recognize me, and I would deliver Papa John's pizza just to stay in this business. By 2010, I started my own company and just built it from the ground up, 1 unit at a time. And did a little real estate. I had my broker's license, so I was able to manage for other people. That's how I started it,
Yep.
was managing assets for out-of-state investors until I could get enough steam and enough, momentum to start doing my own bigger deals. And those were formative years, and, um, that I consider to be one of the biggest gifts of my real estate career was to be humbled and thrown in the fire early in my career, so that I could learn and come out of that stronger, and it forever changed my DNA as an investor.
Yeah. Yeah. Right now, I'm 35 and I actually just experienced one of those waves, one of
Yeah.
those really hard, dark time periods. And to your point, they definitely shape you. And I've got a couple of things that stand out the most of what I've learned through that experience. What would you say that stood out to you the most after you've gone through that period of time?
Well, I learned the hard way what, leverage can work debt can work for you or it can work against you pretty quickly.
Mm,
I learned the hard way that real estate is not easy. It's not, what some people on stage or on Instagram or some of these influencers might have people think. It is a hard, hard business. It's worth it. The juice is worth the squeeze if you can execute. Um, I saw these companies implode. I saw developers file bankruptcy. I saw builders file bankruptcy. I saw people lose their livelihood, some marriages, houses. Saw a lot of turmoil in a deep downturn in the cycle. And so I really started focusing in on the history of finance and cycles in the market and trying to be a better operator, a better investor, and one that could hopefully, in the future cycles, do well when others are running for the hills. It forever changed my DNA, man. It was interesting though, the multifamily guys, that owned a lot of multifamily and managed a lot of multifamily were able to ride through the storm and in some cases even come out the other side, stronger.
Mm. Listen up, wing lovers. This ain't your average chicken wing. This is a Michelin-starred masterpiece. 24 years in the making, Sabalicious Wings brings you the ultimate umami explosion. 22 expertly blended seasonings, dry rubbed to perfection, and finished with secret sauces that hit you with just the right heat on the back end. Don't just take our word for it. Order now at Sabalicious Wings ATX on Instagram and taste the magic for yourself. Yeah, when I think about this type of experience, as somebody that's kind of young in any industry, your posture, metaphorically speaking, is kind of forward, face down, and not really aware of what's going on around you, right? Yet, when we go through these hardships and we put in the intention, it helps us correct our posture. And then in time, with the wisdom that's gained, we're able to see everything on more of a 360-degree plane. Now, we're not perfect, but wouldn't you say that's kind of the ultimate goal is to be able to um, recognize everything that's gone on in the past, prepare for the future, but also enjoy the present as it is? Is that kind of where you're at now, or does that resonate whatsoever?
No, I love that. I love that approach. It does open up, my awareness of my surroundings, how the markets, rise and fall. I think it adds a lot of wisdom from experience, and I certainly appreciate life and it's hard to do, running a business and focused on achievement and goals, but, I also try to focus on what I'm becoming and enjoying the ride along the way. I've got, 3 young kids that aren't gonna be young forever, so I spend a lot of time making sure that, we get to hang out and have fun and make memories.
Love that. Yeah, that's great. You're building the ultimate life. That's what it's all about right there. Mhm.
Well, maybe for me, that's the hope.
Yep. Now you said Zig Ziglar, okay? I can attest to this. Books, education changed my life back in college. I started doing what they told me to do, and all of a sudden, things just started opening up for me. I got ranked very highly in the United States for residential sales because everything, you just do what they say and it works, right?
That's real.
Yeah.
Facts. As my son would say, facts.
Facts. Yup. Yeah, those young whippersnappers. So, do you still implement extracurricular education in your practice?
In my personal practice?
Yep.
Absolutely. I am a lifelong learner. I stay curious. I read a lot. I've been on a big biography kick lately. I'm trying to learn a little bit each day. YouTube's a great tool for that as well. And I still listen to some of the old greats, Earl Nightingale, Zig Ziglar. I like listening to motivational stuff when I work out, some motivational mixes. And I'm always keen to study the markets, study individuals that have been successful in their careers and how they navigated through those ups and downs of life. Education is so important now. I think you would agree. The education that we maybe are searching out isn't the education that's normally found in schools, but it is still
Yeah.
vital learning, financial literacy, especially.
Mm. So, you're working your tail off for your entire real estate career. You've gone through ups and downs, right? It shaped you into the person who you are today. You've continued to go for the ride. Yeah. Um, Somebody on the outside looking in might not understand that drive. It might not be for them either. It might not be something that they want. So let's tap a little bit into the why behind it. Where does the energy and the excitement come from for you? Why do you get up every day and do this?
I like where this is going, Greg. This is fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wanna first say to people out there that are watching this that most days when I get up, I'm not excited to go down to the gym and get my workout in. I'm not excited to call investors every day and talk real estate. I don't get excited to do these things all the time. Motivation and excitement it can be really elusive, right? I like the way Jocko, talks about this stuff. It really comes down to discipline and doing these things that I know that I need to do, whether I want to do them or not. And I've done that so long now that I've thrown so many logs on that fire that flame, that fire in my belly is pretty strong, and it's really an obsession, right? It's I see so many people fail to get out of the starting blocks by just continuing to daydream and think about what if and this and that. And for me, it's really figuring out what the next tiny little step might be and just getting one foot in front of the other. What slowed me down early on was wanting to do big deals. And when I really checked that ego aside and started focusing on, hey, what's the next duplex I could buy? What's the next 3, 4-plex I could buy? Instead of trying to jump from 2 to 50, that's when I really started building momentum and took off. So if you go back like through my progression of owning real estate, it was 2, 2, 2, 3, 6, 35, 15, 30, 60, 237, and then it just kept climbing from there. And I don't think I would have gotten there if I hadn't early on just figured out, "Hey, how am I gonna get the next small deal and build from there?" And then serving other people by managing their properties. We don't do that anymore. Now we've got, a large enough scale where we only do it for our thousands of investors that partner with us.
Mm,
Um, but if I hadn't done those 2 things, I am pretty certain I would not be this far along and this successful at this point in my life.
hmm. When you were a kid, you probably had a vision. Not maybe not a kid, but somewhere along your journey, you probably started developing a vision. Once you got that taste of the excitement, you said, "Oh, this is for me. This is what I'm gonna do." And then
Yeah.
you became obsessed once you found out. So probably started voraciously reading, diving into books, figuring out how you can be the best that you can possibly be at what you do, right? Where does that vision take you? Who are you becoming in that vision?
Ooh, I don't know if I have a who answer for you. I mean, you got it right. Once I got the bug, it was hard to turn off. Even if I'm in the car for 5 minutes in those early days, I'm listening to CDs on how to buy apartments, CDs on how to invest in real estate, how to
Oh,
grow a
yeah.
company. Everywhere I went, anywhere I could squeeze in time to sharpen my sword, I was working on it. Um, Today I look at it as like a report card. So top of the list, a relationship with my Lord and Savior. Marriage comes next.
Yeah.
Ch
Amen.
chil
Amen, brother.
There we go, I like that. Children are, below that. It's funny when I tell them it's God, marriage, then them, they get a little upset about that. But, from there, there's physical health, right? There's fun, there's enjoyment of life, making memories, especially while the kids are young, before they wanna hang out with their friends more than they wanna hang out with us. And what I've found is if I focus on doing all these other things and providing a great service, then the money and the freedom, which is what I really ultimately desire, right? It's the freedom to do what I want to do when I want to do it with whom I want to do it, wherever I want to do it, for as long as I want to do it. True freedom. But that money, that wealth, and that freedom is the byproduct of serving the other parts of that report card first.
Sure. That makes sense completely. Chicken or the egg, which came first? In this case, you gotta put in the work.
Yeah, it's providing a service, it's helping others. You wanna have more money, help more people.
So what I'm gleaning is, well, you straight up said it actually. What does it do for you? It gives you freedom. So that's what's most important to you in all of this. Sounds
Absolutely, man. I got one house, I got one watch, it's a Garmin. I got one car, I've been driving it for 5 years. It's a nice car, but I'm not a big car guy.
sure.
I really, really value freedom and travel and making memories
Yes.
versus accumulation.
Let's tap into that a little bit. So you've got your freedom, right? What are some things that come up for you when you're tapping into that? What does it look like?
Well, a big part of it's travel,
Okay.
going on one-on-one trips with the kids or taking the whole family different places,
Mm.
spending the summers out of Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Um, Hawaii is a happy place. I like surfing with the kids, skiing in the wintertime with the kids. All these things that I have the freedom to do because of the life that I've designed.
Mm.
And it all starts with serving somebody else, and I try to really impress this upon the kids. They're starting to ask about money and being wealthy and growing a business, and it really comes down to creating value for others. That's all it is.
As Zig
It's not
Ziglar said, go ahead.
well, I know you know this because of your status and how far you've come in your career. It's incredibly important, and it's so simple in so many ways, but it's very difficult to execute. It takes discipline. I'm gonna fall on my face. I'm gonna get hit in the mouth. I'm gonna get knocked around. All I have to do is refuse to quit.
Let's talk about the cost of freedom, okay? Because if somebody's listening into this, they probably thinking to themselves, "Man, that guy probably had to work so much for so long, and then finally at one point he got there." Well, how many years did you actually have to do nose to the grindstone, eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, so to speak, before you were able to, let's say, take a trip when you wanted to take a trip, get the car that you wanted to get, buy the house that you wanted to buy? How many years did it take to get to that place?
Well, it took me a couple extra because I started off in the hole, like I mentioned earlier, right?
Oh, yeah.
Um, I would say the first 5 or 6 years of the business were really, really difficult, from a time management standpoint.
Okay.
You know, Early on, I was working as hard as I could work. Uh, the workouts fell off the to-do list.
Oh, boy.
I was completely focused on work and just working harder and, hit a proverbial wall and had to really take a deep look on how I was operating the business. And around the same time, found my business partner who helped really change the growth trajectory of the business and started really focusing in on, hey, what am I really good at here? What should I keep doing? What should I stop doing? What's the one thing that nobody else can do that I'm really good at? And how do I bring in a tribe of people that believe in what we're trying to create here at BAM, that can help me grow it execute in areas that I should not be attempting to help.
Yes, when you reach that leverage point, you have to ask yourself the question, is it either a who or is it a what that you need?
Yeah,
And at that
yeah,
point, it was a who.
big time.
You found your business partner, and then that leverage came in that you needed, and then the floodgates opened in a sense.
Yeah, yeah. I started learning more about leadership and really diving internally to try and know myself
Sure.
and what my skills were, but also more importantly, what my weaknesses are. And back to that hard work thing, man. I think people tend to want to add, add, add. A big part of it is what are you willing or what am I willing to sacrifice in the short term to gain in the long term? What am I willing to do today that others won't so I can do tomorrow what others can't?
Right. And I've heard this statement before in line with what you just said. Some of the most successful people on the planet are the most humble people on the planet because they know how much work and discipline, sacrifice, humility it takes to actually get to that place. And like think about the part where you brought in your business partner. You had to let go of control. And that's hard to
Yeah.
do, right?
Early on, definitely hard, especially eh, for me as a solopreneur at this point for the most part, where I've got my hands in everything, the old adage, "I can do it better myself." That only works so long before what got me to where I am isn't gonna get me to where I wanna go.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and draw an imaginary circle here. Okay. Here's you at the bottom of the circle, and this is when you're first starting off. And then all of a sudden, you're getting traction, and you're on your way to the top. And now all of a sudden, you've got tons of momentum. You can make the decisions you want to make with ease in your business, right? Things are relatively good. Well, in order to complete the circle, in my opinion, it's important to give back, to shed the light, because you've done so much work on yourself to become the person who you are. Now, let's give back in other ways. I'm curious, how do you implement that right now?
One of my favorite things I heard early on in this business was, "Whenever you're stuck, help somebody else."
Yeah.
And it reminds me that there's a lot of folks, the list is long, especially it starts with my first real estate mentor, um, that helped me, and it is with, that knowledge that I have the responsibility and I get to help others. So as busy as I get, I still try to do my best to make time when I'm approached in the right way by, what'd you call them earlier, whippersnappers?
Yeah.
When
Youngins.
when I try to still make time when I'm approached in the right way, to help those that are farther down the mountain from me. Just like I still today, one of the things I love doing, Greg, is sitting at the feet of CEOs that are much higher than me and gaining wisdom from them and just asking, "Hey man, how did you get up there?" Right? How did you get that far? And that virtuous cycle continues, and it comes back around in the most interesting ways sometimes, which aren't or isn't expected. It just sort of happens.
Well, that's the giving mindset, right? You've got givers, you've got takers, and you've got matchers. Matchers are the majority of the population, right? You scratch my back, I scratch yours. The givers tend to be the most successful people. Just give relentlessly, and you just never know what's going to happen for you. But
Yeah, you put it out there in the universe, man, and the universe has a way of rewarding that
yeah,
if you can do it without expectation. That's the
e-
key.
exactly, and that makes, in my opinion, for a very wonderful life. Fun makes it fun.
Amen, brother.
Yeah. So we'll wrap it up by just touching upon a couple of things that you're involved in right now. So, are you a part of any ecosystems by chance? Any groups, clubs? Um,
Big time.
big, big, care to share anything that might be helpful for the listeners that they might want to inquire about?
So if I go back to 2014 when I was working as hard as I could work, I couldn't work any harder, and had to start learning how to build a business, how to grow a business. Two things are rocket fuel: peer groups, ecosystems, right,
Yep.
and coaching.
Mhm.
And so I went through EO for several years, which really helped me. That's Entrepreneurs Organization. Graduated up to YPO. I'm still in Young Presidents Organization today. Now I'm in another group called Tiger 21, which has been a phenomenal ecosystem of ultra high net worth individuals, businesses, folks that have sold, and everything in between. And although my main job is still raising capital for the business, the real value in these ecosystems isn't the capital that might come in organically just through relationships. It's the access to wisdom. And then the yin to that yang is coaching. In any area of my life where I want to improve it, whether it's physically or mentally or in my business, I've got coaches helping me, holding me accountable.
Yeah, even Michael Jordan had a coach all the way up to his last day. I'm
Yeah,
talking
absolutely.
extracurricular coaches, not just his main basketball coach, right?
Oh, yeah, what's his name? Read his book, great book.
Oh, Tim or
Yeah,
Tim
Grover.
Grover.
Grover, yeah, great book, great book.
Right. Ivan, any last question here for you. If there's somebody listening in, let's say your great grandkids listening to this podcast in a few hundred years, whenever that
Uh,
is.
I hope so.
Yeah. Uh, what would you want them to hear from you?
I love that question, man, and I'm thinking about that a lot just with my own kids, right? And I hope that these videos, serve them. I wanna really drive home, the key to wealth and freedom is serving others, whether it's a product or a service or both. That's the nature of business. There's no other way to do it in my opinion. The library that I've built, I hope, is still in my family's hands. There's a lot of knowledge in books, and, be mindful of who you, select as your teachers and where you get your wisdom from. Be mindful of your friends. You are the summation of the people you hang out with the most, and,
Bing-
one of the most important decisions you'll make in life, young kids, is who you choose to marry.
Bingo. Wow. Well said. That was awesome. Ivan, thank you for sharing that with us. I mean, this is powerful. This is great.
It's been fun, man. I hope I delivered some value to the audience out there, and maybe there's some entrepreneurs that can, use this and run with it.
100%. Folks, you heard it here first. We're going to drop Ivan's links in the description, so make sure to check it out if you want to get a hold of him or his company. My name's Greg Carlson, your host of the Elite League podcast. Till next week, everybody, stay fired up.
Alright.
Yeah. Would you? How was that for you?
That was fun, man.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I felt a little tight today. Hopefully it didn't come across that way.
What had you feeling tight?
Good question. I don't know. Maybe I usually would do a podcast with a guy like you at like 10 in the morning, 10:30 in the morning. 3 o'clock in the day, I'm reaching for, whatever I can to get a boost of energy.
Oh, energy. I got you. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe a little low energy.
So did you just feel a little bit, yeah, a little dragging today?
Maybe.
Well, you know what helped that? Did you work out yet?
Oh, I get that done early.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, get that done early, man. I got a guy that comes to the house 5 days a week to kick my ass.
Oh, awesome. Like that. Did you do cold plunges and stuff?
I do. Yeah, cold plunge this morning, man. I don't do it every morning, but, I needed it today.
Okay. Yeah, I heard good things about that. I've done it a couple times in my gym, but
How old are you?
I'm 35.
Okay. Yeah, at 46, cold is my friend, man. It keeps me, I was sore as heck this morning, so I made my butt get in the cold plunge.
What kind of workouts are you doing?
So I had knee surgery in May, so I'm trying to get my legs back ready, for more endurance stuff.
Yep.
Lift a lot of heavy weight, like to throw around weight. And then now that the legs are starting to get a little bit more acclimated again post surgery, doing a lot more like intense cardio. So this week we've been um, looping in the assault bike in between sets. So
Assault bike?
just yeah, so just
You have
spiking the heart rate. What's that?
you have guns with you on your hips or something when you're riding that? What's an assault bike? What is that?
Oh, you see it in like CrossFit gyms where you've got the handles that go
Oh.
back and forth.
Yep.
You know what I'm
Yep.
talking about? Yeah,
Okay. Got
yeah,
it. Oh, those
yeah. So
things
like,
wreck.
oh, dude, he spikes your heart rate so fast,
Yep.
so fast. So
Did
getting
you
those hit workouts back in.
Yeah, okay. That's cool. You coming to Austin anytime soon?
No, but I'll look you up when I do.
Okay. Okay.
Or what peer groups are you in? What ecosystems are you a part of?
I have my own that I'm looking to grow because
Nice.
yeah, my life's definite purpose. I have it written down. Been working on it for about 12 years, and on there is I want people in my ecosystem to know that I believe in them. So I'm working my tail off to create the ecosystem.
Very cool.
Yeah, yeah. This is the Elite League podcast. That's Elite League International. That's the mastermind group.
Awesome. And that's industry agnostic or is it mostly real estate?
Industry agnostic. Yeah,
Nice.
and
Nice.
anybody that wants to get fired up on a Wednesday night. Mhm.
There you go. You doing any in-person events yet?
Just oh, you're talking like with speakers and panels and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Micro events. It's not
Yeah.
huge. We have about 10 members so far. I just started it.
Okay.
But we'll do like in-person podcast recordings, Q&A sessions, but nothing big. That is definitely in the works though.
Yeah. Well, maybe one of these days I'll fly out to Austin and we'll do like an in-person longer form podcast or something.
If we do that, I'd probably invite people in my real estate office too. They'd love to hear what you got going on.
Yeah, that'd be
Y-
fun.
Yeah, I'm at Keller Williams, and we're at the largest office in the world. There's over 800 realtors in my office.
Woo! That's a big office, man.
It's cool. It's good.
Yeah, so I was the in-house broker for a developer, so he held my license.
Mm.
And then when I was trying to start my business, I would do any kind of real estate I could. So I was representing buyers and sellers of homes and land until I got the management gig going, cash flowing enough to where I didn't have to broker anymore, but use that broker's license a lot, especially buying my own deals early on.
Yeah,
And then
helps you
you
control.
grow it from there. Yeah. Yeah, well, I could negotiate, I could access the MLS, I could tell the listing broker, "Hey, man, you keep the whole commission if you give me the deal." There's a lot of wheeling and dealing in the early days.
Mhm. Mhm. Hey, have you heard of GoBundance, by the way?
I have, man. I every now and then I run across somebody I know that's in it.
Yeah. So they started here in Austin.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
that's one I would have considered joining, if I hadn't been in YPO.
and the Tiger one. Tiger, what's it called?
Tiger 21.
Tiger 21?
Yeah.
What's the buy-in for that per year?
Y your balance sheet's gotta be 20,000,000 or more,
Short.
and it's 30,000 a
Yep.
year.
Okay.
And it's pretty cool. If you refer somebody, it's like 7,500 off. And so if you refer, 4 people,
It's covered.
it's covered. Yeah.
Yeah, you see, that's really good. 30,000 because the local country club is 100,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're playing golf for 4 hours with 2 people or whatever. With that, you're in the mix with
Well, what's really fun is we create our own under 49 group inside Tiger 21, and it's blown up and it's high energy and crypto and real estate and tech and healthcare and all these different industries, and it's just a lot of high energy, high fun interactions for sure.
eh oh, that's cool. And y'all meet local or travel into places for conferences, or how's that work?
Yeah, both. So you've got a
Both.
local group that you meet with,
Yep.
and there's chapters all over the country, several outside of the U.S. now, and then there's events. There's a big conference that everybody goes to once a year that was off the chain.
Mm.
And then I just got back from like a tiger ski trip in Aspen, where there was maybe 30 of us.
Dude, that's awesome. Keep keep
Yeah.
keep that going. You're doing that's what I'm talking about.
Well, so
Yeah.
you're married. I see that, but you have kids yet?
Oh, no, this was a gift from my referral partners on my birthday. I
Oh,
wore
cool.
my Aura ring over here because
Okay.
this looks more like a wedding ring. I keep it on my right hand, and I just keep this one on my left hand.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm a Whoop guy, but I still like even though you're using an inferior product.
Is that true? I
I'm
hear
just
Whoop
messing
is the
with you, man.
best. Oh,
I like Whoop because I don't like to lift weights with a ring on.
no, I gotta take it off, and then it defeats the purpose.
Right, and with the Whoop, you never take it off because you charge this little battery pack, and when your Whoop's running low, you slide the battery pack onto the Whoop.
Serious?
Yeah, so I never have to take it off.
And I heard it's the most accurate too.
I think next to a heart rate strap, literally, covering your heart, I think it is the most accurate, yeah.
Mm, okay. I'll make a note. I might have to upgrade. We'll see.
I think it'd be silly not to.
Dang, you're a great salesperson.
It's awesome. I'm a one-trick pony, but it's a pretty good trick.
Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Hey,
All
man,
right,
it's a pleasure, dude. I hope we get to chat again.
let's do it. Nice to meet you.
You too, Greg.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Bye.